And so we were oftentimes telling, you know, the Secretary of State, the individuals, our legislators who are pushing this particular bill, it's unconstitutional. It's, you know, it comes from, you know, malicious intent. Don't pass this bill. And they passed it anyway, with the understanding that this is because of this particular group of people were voting in numbers. And now you have, and I mean, and it wasn't just African American organizations lobbying against this bill. I mean, we had the League of Women Voters, who's a nonpartisan group, you know, other civil rights organizations. I mean, everyone's saying, this is a bad bill. And now it passed. And the governor signed it, passed both houses, and the governor signed it. And I think about in 2019, and I'm sitting here as an African-American woman, and all my colleagues around me go vote yes on a bill that's trying to criminalize my ability to be engaged in the political process. And not only was it hurtful to all the African-Americans across the state of Tennessee, but I felt a particular way sitting there as a black woman, and I wanted to cry when they passed that. I did everything I could to speak out against this bill, talk about this bill, but we understand that racism is still very real and it's still very systematic. And the current state of this bill is a federal judge just last week, the state of Tennessee tried to block the civil rights lawsuit against the state for this bill. And the state tries to, you know, say, you know, don't let these organizations block my bill. And the federal judge made a stance against the state saying, your bill is particularly unconstitutional. Why would you? Why are we placing criminal penalties on civic engagement groups that want to get more people involved in the political process? Why are we placing criminal sanctions when you never put in any form of training in the first place? What are we doing? And so thank God for judges. Thank God. But, you know, I'm saying that all to say is that the fight to continue to ensure that every demographic of people has the right to vote is still ongoing, even hundreds of years later. And it's not even just, you know, African Americans, young people too. Last year I started working on a bill with the American Democracy Project at MTSU that will put voting locations on college campuses. Why not make college campuses voting locations? Something simple. Our institutions of higher learning should be the perfect place for young people to be engaged in the civic process, where we are learning how to be stewards of our community, where we are learning how we're going to influence the next generation of people. Yet you'd be surprised how much pushback we got from those who run our elections about giving young people the right to vote. And we're the largest generation of eligible voters in the country, period. And so you wonder why so many young people are fatigued with the political process. It's because we make it so hard for you to engage in a process in the first place. It is ridiculous. So, you know, I understand that African Americans have been fighting for over 400 or 500 years in order for equality, and the fight is still ongoing. Women, our right to be involved in the political process 100 years later is ongoing. So my message to the young people in this office is being able to advance our political agenda is not as quick as sending out a tweet, a Facebook post, or Instagram post. It is continuously ongoing, and it's our civic obligation to be involved in that process. And we have an obligation to give back to the next generation, like the women and the men and the people who came before us are able to create a path for us to be successful today. And so, although you are fatigued with the political process, don't give up. Yes, your one vote can't change the whole demographic of the political process, but your vote in mass together can really change the outlook of this world. And we will not be the change that we want to see if we do not engage in voting in the political process, and we do not help continue to elect the people we want to see change the way our world works. Thank you so much for asking that question. That's a very, very important question. First, I want to go back to, what I said earlier about how I got involved in politics. Start on your college campus. What particular things do you want to see change in your campus? Get involved in your SGAs, your student clubs, have conversations with your college administrators about making sure this community, your own campus community, is conducive to how you want to see it. Part of that is saying we want voting on campus. Because oftentimes, if the students are in uproar about the fact that they want voting on campus, I'm going to have the support from your college president when I'm advocating to the Secretary of State and the other legislators about getting this bill passed. Secondly is making sure that you're registered to vote. And I saw that you had voter registration tables set up all through campus, so big ups to you for that. Like, I think that's amazing. Is Representative Rudd, who was here earlier. He is the chairman of the election subcommittee. He has influence over most of the election bills that come through the legislature. I need you to write, tweet, Facebook, come to the Capitol, annoy him so much, and say, when we put this bill on the docket in January, I need you to help get this passed, and I need your vote for it. He was also the sponsor of the voter suppression bill I was talking about. So oftentimes he needs to hear from you, the community he represents, that this is something that you want to see. And so also, I need you to then call all the legislators, tweet, Facebook, email, whatever, show up 45 minutes down the road and come to the committee hearings. Talk to the legislators who vote on this. And so the more students we have advocating for this bill, the greater of a chance it has to pass. And so again, social media helps, they need to see that, but most importantly, I need you to be able to show up. And call your friends at the other college campuses around the state. This is not just for MTSU, this is for students across the state of Tennessee at our public colleges and universities. I think that it is so important that you have the ability to take part in the political process here on campus. You spend most of your time on campus anyway. And so, this is something that, again, is not as simple as sending out a tweet, even though I need you to do that as well, but also it takes a little bit more effort requiring us to show up. And again, I will be continuing to communicate with the American Democracy Project here on campus about how we're moving forward with the bill. And so please communicate with them starting in January about specific dates that'll be on schedule when you can show up. You're welcome to call my office at any time. And you're also able to hit me on Twitter and Instagram at LondonLamarTN and let me know, if you have volunteers who want to show up or you need more information, I got you. So those are some of the things that you can do right now to help make sure this bill can pass.